After struggling with this for some time, and you can see all the sawdust here, I've been cutting away. The wires were just too short, and so Margaret suggested that we just put a junction box in here. So that's exactly what we're going to do. This is in the head, so we don't use we've never used the plug in here, so it's not really a big deal to just get rid of these, but we need to put the junction box in because these lead to some other outlets elsewhere. So we need to keep this circuit live. Okay, I capped the wires on the junction box, or capped the wires for the junction box. We'll end up attaching this blue box to the wall in here, and then putting a cover on it, so that we can still have access to it if we need to. But that's it. Alright, it's around about 10 a.m. Been on the boat for almost 2 hours. I'm going to go and leave and go pick up Margaret pretty soon, and we'll probably head over to Lowe's to pick up a couple things. Spent the morning taking care of that second GFI. We ended up turning it into a junction box because the wires were just too short to work with. Plus we never used that plug anyway. And then I rebedded the last of the stuff that we're rebedding with butyl tape. I had rebed 5 of the fittings, and there's 6 of them the other day. I wanted to really get that last one rebed right now, because with the butyl tape we need to keep tightening down for a couple days afterwards, because the butyl tape compresses over time. So that will allow us to do that over the next 3 days before we leave, 2-3 days before we leave. We still have all the other rebedding to do, the rebedding that we're going to have to do with 4200, but we kind of need to wait for a little bit better weather for that. It's wet outside, but it's not really raining anymore. So we'll see how the weather proceeds today and tomorrow, and get that done. We got to get it done before we leave, but we're really not on a time frame for that otherwise. So I think most of the rest of the day is going to be spent finishing up all the hose here. So we'll bring you along a couple hours after I go get Margaret, like I said, and maybe make a trip over to Lowe's. So I went and picked up Margaret, and we went over to Lowe's, bought a new shop vac, among other things, and you can see that Margaret's here using it, cleaning up from some of the debacles from the last couple days, right here from the GFI, and me having to cut it open. And then we shifted over, after we cleaned up the boat a little bit, to putting some of the fittings on and finishing up some of the raw water hose. This here is the fitting to our forward washdown pump. We put on some 5/8 hose here, so we had to put 2 fittings on to make it fit onto the cap. If you remember a couple days back, that was when that was exactly where I could not get the 3/4 inch hose onto it, so we had to change things up a little bit. Came over here with me up in that same spot now. That was Margaret there before, and just hooked up the hose to it and secured it with an O-clamp. We also took some of this hose and secured it down in different places throughout the boat using zip ties, making sure it was out of the way, making sure it won't get caught on anything. Of course, as we were going through all of this, finishing up the raw water hose projects, we ran into a couple more problems. Here I am just showing some more poor fittings. It's a plastic fitting and then a really rusted O-clamp, and all of that, and a brass T too. And that all of that is what comes right off the seacock, or what used to come right off the seacock. So we're really glad we're replacing it. I know we show you this sort of stuff every day. But here's attaching the raw water hose to the toilet, or the head. Took a little while. But as I was saying, we ran into a couple problems along the way with some of our fittings and some of our plans for the hose. We're going to have to detail all that in a blog post later. Finished the last, I don't know, hour and a half on the boat or something like that with me in the lazarette, upside down, trying to first bring the raw water hose to our refrigerator pump. This is me in the lazarette right here. And then after that, trying to attach our water filter We'll have more on the water filter tomorrow because we, of course, ran into problems with that too. But it was a good day. We got a lot of work done, and we're hoping to finish everything up tomorrow. Captain Hook's little brother. Ooh, ooh.